The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at theeppodcast.com.
Hannah, money cometh and money goeth away.
Yes, it does. It's so sad.
I like how you just jumped in. You're like, yeah, it's totally true.
As I drown myself in wine and sob. Money comes and money goes.
This is how I wanted to kick off the show. I say something like that. The music's playing in the background. Hannah's drowning her sorrows in wine. It's going to be a hell of a 30 minutes of good here for the EP podcast.
It's going to be so good.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. All right, so Frank Murray is on this program today. We're going to have Mark Marzullo on, village trustee. But Mark was under the weather, so he'll be on next week. But I want people to get in questions for Mark.
Okay.
When somebody cancels, it kind of gives me that extra lead time to tell you I know who's coming on next week, right? So you got a village trustee coming on. Mark's probably one of the most honest people that we've ever had down here. Not to say that nobody else isn't, but I mean, he's
a straight shooter.
He will just say it, right? Like I'll ask him something, I'll be like, "Are you sure you should have said that?" And he's like, "No, I don't care. I just say how it is, Chris. I just let it fly, right?" He's the trustee, man. He's one of many, but man, he just lets it fly. Okay, so he'll be on. So if you have a question, hit him up with it, because I mean, I can think of my questions. Like I have things that affect me. Your questions are probably better at home. So you reach out through the eppodcast.com. There's a contact form. There's a voicemail. You can actually just hit the little microphone button if you have a speaker on whatever device you're using, your phone, your tablet, whatever. You hit the button in the corner of the website and you can leave us a message and we'll play it on the air. We'll play the question exactly how you want to ask it to Mark Marzullo for next week's show. Or you can hit us up on social media, send us something. We actually got a message I want to read here.
Okay.
As I kick off the show, before I get to the message, remember this episode and every episode of the EP podcast brought to you proudly by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. 4% APY.
That's
Statement
amazing.
Savings Special. That's some great interest right there. If you've got some money you want to put it in the bank, they're giving really high rates on CDs as well. They're doing an awful lot with your money if you're putting it in there. Plus, remember, they've got the checking account with the free ATMs anywhere you go. If you're charged a fee, they put the money back in. There's a $300 bonus for setting that up with qualifying activities. So you can check them out at bankevergreenpark.com, but I suggest you go in and see them. They are well-staffed and very friendly in that iconic building right on the corner of 95th and Pulaski, the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. All right, let me get this message because I wanted to share this to kick the show off. Here it is. You gained 2 new listeners. My daughters. My teenage daughters.
Okay.
This is what the person's writing right here. We were coming back from a trip to Missouri, and my husband and I are a bit behind on the EP podcast. So we played it from where we left off. Now, based upon how I'm reading this, they had kind of gotten busy during the holidays.
Right.
So they're a little behind.
Okay.
And at some point in the trip, they get to when Hannah comes back.
Aw.
So the Hannah episodes come on, and here's the quote. My girls stopped their music to listen.
Wow.
They are fully invested in her dating life.
Wow.
And asked if they can keep listening to the podcast going forward.
I love my 2 fans. Thank you so much.
No,
I love it.
I'm reading this
That's
because
so sweet.
This is not because you only have 2 fans, Hannah.
But they stopped listening to their music.
What I'm trying to point out is you have far more than 2 fans. People are fully invested into what is going on in your dating life. And
that's awesome.
This is like a thing. So we're going to get into date number 2, was it? With the guy who did the Valentine's date?
Yes.
You went to the car show?
Went to the car show.
All right, that's coming up later on in the show. This is the EP podcast. Sitting down here with me is Dan Doyle, who is an Evergreen Park artist. You have heard him on this show before. There's a park that I know you did a big mural at recently, correct?
Yes.
It was the Veterans Day mural that came out. You put that together over on California Avenue.
Yeah.
So many different things that you've done around Evergreen where you're just adding a lot of art to the village. And I see you pop up in one place, another place, and you just seem to be really into expanding the art in Evergreen Park. What motivates you to do that?
Art's just in me. I I create my own pieces all the time. But the main thing is Evergreen Park is they've got so many things to offer. Sports, they've got great churches, great schools, awesome parks, all these things. But I think art is something that there's a lot of people in this community that either as hobbyists, as maybe they want to take it on as a career, or not a career, but like a side job or something, it's a creative outlet that I think people I've seen start to come together to work on.
Where's your favorite thing that you've put together in Evergreen Park so far? Do you have, I don't want you to pick from your children which one you want the most, like it's Sophie's choice, but I mean like of all the artistic things that you've put around the village right now, like if somebody wanted to see a Dan Doyle piece or project, which is the one you would point them at first?
The first one, I mean, and it sounds selfish, but it's the Highland Cow on a surfboard right on Core there at Core.
That's yours.
Physical fitness,
You put that on the side of the building on 95th Street where Core Fitness and Physical Therapy is.
That's correct,
right.
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was a great accomplishment. But also the other murals, like that Veterans one you were talking about, that was a community-based art event, where people came out and painted it. I just facilitated, I designed it, and we had a really good turnout. I had it out there for a weekend, and maybe 15 to 20 people came through. People just drove in past. Hey, what are you doing? I'm like, come on out, grab a brush. And people did. They came out with their kids, and it was a great experience. So that's kind of like what you were asking. What drives me is that like people that have this outlet, these different creative outlets, that this is kind of the community within a community that we can find that.
So you have a pet project. I know that I want to say you started this around the time of the pandemic. Right.
Yes.
And then you tried to go a little bit bigger last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And you're kind of changing how it's going to work. So tell everybody what it is. It doesn't happen until the fall, but right now you're trying to set it up so it's important that people who would be interested in being part of the event start thinking about it and contacting you now. So what is it?
So it's called the Evergreen Park Garden and Art Walk. Garden is first because it gives people a chance to showcase their garden. I think there's a lot of people in this community that have beautiful gardens and they want to show it off. Last year I had 10 participants, including the library, where people would just go on this specific type of route that I would suggest to them. And then we ended at my house. I had live music on the front lawn. And the only problem was when I made the date, the Beverly Art Walk came out with their date, and it was the same exact.
What a bunch of jerks!
Date.
That's uppity Beverly for you right there.
It came out to turn out to be. It was mostly just the garden walk. I couldn't get a lot of artists because they were already committed to doing the Beverly Art Walk.
Right, I get
that. So
that.
now I'm going to make sure it's not on the same date as the Beverly Art Walk.
Call up Beverly and be like, "Hey, when are you doing this thing?"
Correct.
All right? I don't want to overlap.
I'll find out from them first.
I remember you had a problem because you were trying to find a weekend, and there's so much going on in Evergreen Park. During September, you've got the MHR Barbecue Bash, which is like a huge festival along 95th Street. Yep. It just kind of has become like its own thing that has gotten so big over recent years. You know that now we have Oktoberfest that happens in Evergreen Park when October hits, and it just seems like there's something happening every weekend. There's kids' sports. It's a difficult time to throw something. So I get that you're starting it now in the spring because you really got to plan far out if you're going to do something during that really packed time in Evergreen Park.
Yeah, and the other reason is getting this out early is because I am looking for people who would be interested in participating in this or opening up their
Does it matter where I live in Evergreen?
At this point, I'm just going to be looking for anybody that would like to open up their garden or your backyard. No houses will be included.
Okay.
You cannot enter someone's house.
Right. I don't want weirdos in my house.
No.
Okay. Come look at the flowers, stay out of the kitchen.
Correct.
Right.
So
okay. That makes more sense to me. Do they send you pictures in advance? Do you go scout the location?
I would go stop by and find out. And even if your garden isn't up to standards as what you would like,
you've got all summer.
But you also have to remember this is more of a community building event where if your garden has maybe a small veggie garden and you just want to show it off, hopefully, since I'm not doing it coincides with the Beverly Art Walk, I can get artists to showcase their work in your yard.
The artists stay out of the house too, though, right?
Everyone stays out of the house.
Some artists, man, I don't know. I'm not letting them in the house. So you could come in the house.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks.
I've seen some other. Oh, they're a little weird.
Yeah.
All right. So the idea is, if you're interested in doing this, if you have a garden, if you want to show it off, if you think it'd be fun to be part of this event, you're going to reach out to Dan, and then he's going to take a look at all the houses that want to participate in this thing and try to figure out how to include the most of them. Hopefully, probably in a concentrated area to develop where the walk will be this year. That's basically, am I kind of surmising this perfectly?
Yes, yeah, okay. That sounds about right.
That's what they give me the big bucks for,
Dan. Right, nice. Yeah. Last year I kind of tried to keep it to Trumbull, Holman, and St. Louis between 99th and 103rd because that's where I live around there. But now I just wanted to open up to all of Evergreen Park, and we'll see who wants to participate, and then I'd have a better idea how this is going to get laid out.
How do they get a hold of you?
They can email me at Doyle_Dan@hotmail.com.
Doyle_Dan at hotmail.com. I like how you still have a Hotmail. I do too. I have a Hotmail as well. Right. I do. It's ridiculous. Whenever I use it, I'm almost embarrassed to give out my Hotmail address.
Right.
Okay, so that's awesome. Get it out to Doyle_Dan at hotmail.com. They got to give you the address. You're not going to give it away because you got to come over and see it, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then should they throw pictures in or
they
wait till you get there?
if they would like to, if they want to take a picture of whatever they're doing, but
they don't have to because there's not a lot growing right now.
It's still early.
Okay, it's still early. This is just to gauge interest. Would you be willing to? Do you want to learn more about it?
Yes.
You want to reach out to Dan before I let you go. The next thing that you want to paint in Evergreen Park. What do you got? Do you have like something that you're looking at right now? You're like, I want the village to let me do this. Come on, you put it on the EP podcast. We put pressure on them.
Well, I was already asked by one of the guys at the driving range if I could do a mural on the at their kind of shop, the driving range countertop
there you
where
go.
they go into.
So right over there on the driving range at
yeah.
James J. Sexton Park. Used to be 50 Acre Park.
Yes.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah,
exactly.
So there's talks about doing something out there.
Something over at the driving range. Uh-huh. Maybe something nearby at the barn for the animals to look at.
Yeah.
There you go.
The animals. Nothing, no species is counted out.
Yeah, exactly. Dan Doyle, once again, reach out to him, Doyle_Dan at hotmail.com if you want to take part in this event that will be going on in the fall. If you're interested, we're just gauging interest right now. But, I thought this was a cool idea when you first told me about it a few years ago on the show. You've come back every time to kind of talk about it, and you've shared a lot of your artistic things that you're doing around the village. I love it. You're welcome here anytime, and I hope we get a couple people that'll reach out to you who are listening to the EP podcast.
That'd be great. Thanks for having me, Chris.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. Valentine's Day went well.
Very well.
And this is the same dude.
Same dude.
Okay, so what happened this date? Car show.
Yeah. So
auto show. That's right.
The auto show. Yeah. So we went to the auto show and he came and picked me up in his new car. He has a very nice new car. So I was like, yeah, this is pretty awesome. So we get to the auto show.
What kind of car is it?
He has a Honda Accord, one of the new ones.
Okay, because you were like, the way you were talking, I was like, does he pull up in a Lamborghini? Like, what are we talking about?
Those new Hondas are really nice. And
okay. It's a Honda, though.
It's a Honda, but it's really nice.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
you're easily impressed.
I'm easy. It doesn't take much. Like
when I was producing the last show, you were like, there's roses, and then there's roses. And I'm like, I think she just really likes the guy. Like, here's the thing. I'm convinced now
these roses are still going strong, by the way.
You just really like the guy.
He's a nice guy.
That's the thing. So his roses are better than other roses.
They're beautiful roses.
His Honda is a great car.
It is a great car.
Beautiful, gorgeous car. Like, he pulled up in a sports car with, like, rotating rims. But it really was just a Honda.
It was just a Honda.
Okay, yeah, because you like the guy. All right, keep going.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah.
So, no, we get to the auto show, and I was a little underwhelmed with the auto show. I'm not going to lie. Too many electric vehicles
Not
out
enough
there.
Hondas like your new boyfriend?
Not enough Hondas. Not enough Hondas. And you know what? What is the fun part of looking at a muscle car, at a Cobra, at a Shelby, a Corvette? You want to see the hood open and you want to see that engine.
Yeah.
You want to hear that when someone presses on the gas.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist anymore. And it's so sad and depressing because everything's electric.
So they don't have any actual real muscle cars anymore? They must still have them. They're just showing off the electric ones.
No. So the Challenger, the Hellcat,
Yeah.
the Hellcat engine that's always in the Dodge muscle cars.
Yeah.
On all if they had an actual gas car there, had the hood up on the engine, it would say Hellcat last call. They're not making them anymore.
Really?
Last call is on the engine.
That's disappointing.
It's very disappointing. So then you got these muscle cars, you pop the hood and it's just an extra trunk space.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Somebody will still make muscle cars.
Yeah, I hope so.
No, somebody will, because there's always going to be a market for it.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. If you take them away, somebody who's got a smaller shop is going to start making muscle cars. And they'll be the next big car manufacturer. Because look, you learn about supply and demand in economics 101 and 102 when you first get to college. Like for me, when I went to the University of Illinois, they actually had that class inside a Follinger auditorium, so it could hold like hundreds of students in there. I mean, it was a concert hall.
Yeah.
You'd have 700 students sitting in there taking the same class for an hour because everybody had to take Econ 101. And you learn the law of supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
You could want to sell people something, but it's what they actually want that's going to make money, right? And so there's going to be people who are always going to want to have muscle cars. There's going to be people who are always going to want to have a car to go, right?
Me, I'm one of them.
There's always going to be somebody who wants to go work on their car in their driveway. Like, I'm not one of those people, but there are people that want that. So I don't think it's going away.
It was just very underwhelming, I'll say that. But
Enough
it was
about
fun
the car.
going through
Enough
with
about
him.
the car. Let's talk about the dude.
It was fun.
How did the date go?
It went very well.
Okay,
Both,
details.
We both love
We
cars.
got teenage girls listening to us now.
We both love cars, so we're both running up looking at all like the gas mileage and like the ampage.
Does he hold your hand walking around?
Well, here's a funny story about holding hands. So
He has no hands.
He has no hands now. We were walking and
I knew there was something wrong with this guy.
another couple was walking. We weren't holding hands yet, but another couple was walking up toward us, and she had on these hot pink fringe high heel boots. And I said, "I love your boots." And she goes, "Thank you very much." Well, as soon as we passed, he grabbed my hand and like gave my hand a big squeeze.
Okay.
And then as we're walking, you hear this other chick go, "You never hold my hand."
Oh, all right.
So got her jealous.
All right. All right.
So hand
I
holding.
thought you were going to tell me that he immediately whipped out a wad of cash and bought the boots off her right there on the spot. That's what I was waiting for.
You know, icing on the cake, but you know how we ended the date? He took me to White Castle, and it was awesome.
That's it? That's the ending?
No, that's
Everybody's waiting for the juicy ending.
we went to White. He took me to White Castle.
Okay.
I was hungry.
And then did he take you to White Castle?
He took me to White Castle. No, it was a really good date, and I'm looking forward to more dates.
Okay.
With him. So we'll see how it goes.
So this is now the second one.
Yes.
You like this guy. So now here's the question for you. You're on the dating scene.
Yes.
When do you consider it wrong to go on a date with a different person? Because you're an adult.
Yes.
It's only 2 dates.
It's
right?
only 2 dates.
Right? So
We're
like
not
if all of a
exclu-
sudden
we're not
somebody came,
exclusive.
you're not exclusive.
No.
You're not expecting him to be exclusive.
No, I'm not expecting him to be exclusive.
How far into it before you start feeling like that's got to be the case?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a set number of dates. I have gone on a couple of dates with guys in the past, and then I would start going on a couple of dates
Right.
with someone else at the same time.
Yeah. That's what I would do.
Kind of shopping around.
When I was younger, I was very hard to pin me down.
Yeah, it's you
know.
shop around. I've done
Yeah.
it several times. I've done it several times.
You got to browse.
You got to browse.
You got to
yes.
flip through the catalog.
You want the house that's going to still be standing 80 years from now. You know, you
wow,
want that
was
house.
deep, Hannah.
That
was deep. Don't
that's
tell him
deep.
that. He's going to go running away.
Yeah,
if
he
you
will
tell him
run
that.
away very fast. He's like, out of here.
If you've been injured at work, then you need someone who will fight for the care and compensation you deserve. The insurance companies will look out for themselves and their bottom lines, not you. I'm Matthew Coleman, partner and head of the work injury department at the law offices of Parenti and Norm. My team and I have the experience, dedication, and proven results it takes to fight for your rights. Call or text me today at 312-641-5926 or visit us on the web at pninjurylaw.com.
is now time for your EP podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. Quitting smoking is hard, and Cool Clouds wants to give you an alternative. Great taster bar, amazing CBD products, and it's all located over on the northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie at 3148 West 95th Street. Learn more and see all they have to offer at coolcloudsvapor.com. Sign-ups are currently ongoing for spring soccer ages 4 to 14. The season begins April 22nd and ends on June 10th. $85 for residents, $95 for non-residents. Also, mark your calendars, the EP Rec Department having an adult paint and sip Thursday, March 23rd from 6 to 9 p.m. at the community center. And this week, Tai Chi begins on Friday, March 3rd over at the Senior Center. You can now see all of these programs the Rec Department is putting on and sign up. Start your internet journey at evergreenpark-ill.com. The Evergreen Park Library has a lot going on, and that's why Frank Murray from the EP Library sitting down here with me right now. How are you, Frank?
Chris, good. Glad to be back.
I got your newsletter.
Wonderful.
And I got a copy too because we got more than one here at the house, so I gave her one.
Great.
It's better than last time when I got 4 of them. So
We're getting better. The post office is getting better at delivering this.
every
This
time
is
I get
good.
extra library program newsletters in my mail, I think of the people that don't get
That
them.
don't get one. That's what I think of too.
I like
We put a lot of effort into
put
making
one in
these look
every
great.
mailbox, and they
Yes.
just can't handle
They
it.
can't do it. I
Just
guess not.
add that to the list of complaints about the post office, which I always tell people from Evergreen Park. The Evergreen Park post office is the one that my friends who live in other areas, especially in Chicago, come to because it's even better than theirs. Like, we make fun of our post office. It's so much worse everywhere else.
Hopefully by the summer,
Right.
you get one.
All right. So what do we have going on? What's the big thing in March?
Chris, we got a lot of big things in March.
Is there a leprechaun coming? Is there a drinking party for the Irish? Like anything like that?
We've got leprechauns. We've got dancing too.
Okay.
But our big thing for March is Sunday, March 5th. We're having a job fair. The library's partnering with the Chamber of Commerce.
I saw this.
And we have 16 businesses that are going to be participating. And again,
A
just
lot of local ones. And that's what I liked about
That's
it
what
when
we're doing.
I saw it, is that, you know, there was a point in my life where I said I really would like to stop commuting an hour away. You know, it gets to a point where you're like, I live here, I want to work here. I want to spend more time here. I don't want to spend it on the expressway. I don't want to be away. I don't want to be someplace else. I want to be someplace nearby. And I see that you have a lot of local businesses at this job fair. So that's a thing to go check out.
Yeah. Sunday, March 5th from 1 to 3 p.m. Some people that we've got, Meyer, Culver's, the Village of Evergreen Park will be there. OSF Healthcare, Spoken Wine. They're opening that new wine bar.
Spoken Vine.
Spoken Vine.
I said their
Spoken
name
Wine?
wrong a couple of weeks ago on a different show, and they got very mad at me.
Spoken Vine.
Spoken Vine.
Spoken Vine.
Wine comes from the vine. It's spoken
Wine
vine.
comes from
it's
the vine.
bicycles and wine.
Spoken Vine Wine Bar.
Get it
Say
right.
that 3 times
You're the
fast.
president of the Chamber of Commerce. You need to know the name of the businesses.
I got to get down. Spoken Vine, we love you. They're going to be there. They're setting up to hopefully open up in March, April.
Yeah,
so
I
they're
know.
going to be there looking to hire a full fleet of staff.
We had them on the show, and the place looks really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking forward to our first trip there when it's actually open. But I got to see a preview of how it's going to be set up, and it's going to be a really cool location on the northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. And if you notice, when you go by there, you always assume, okay, well, along Kedzie, there's never a parking spot there. Like
Right.
on Kedzie, in that little area where the Jimmy John's is, and the one side of the Oberweis and the UPS store,
Yeah, it's
parking
crazy.
is brutal.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go around the corner, they have not only Cool Clouds Vapor Shop over there, but they have Spoken Vine, and there's plenty of parking.
Yeah, there's
so
a
they
lot.
should be great. That's a great location for people to go, and for it opening up in the spring, getting into the summer, and the way that Evergreen Park likes to drink, I would imagine that business is going to be successful. I want my own business where people just show up and drink. I can't believe I didn't come up with Spoken Vine.
Well, you got the bar down here, you know, you just got to let people come on downstairs. But no,
Sure.
hopefully,
Mike's
hopefully
and
it'll
Brews.
be a great event
we're
for
gonna,
everybody.
We're going to have that. We're going to have a brewery, Mike's and Brews.
Mike's and Brews. There you go.
You sit
Mike's
down,
and
you have a
Brews.
pint, and there's just a microphone in front of you. You have no idea
Mike's
why.
and Brews. Yeah.
Mike's
What's
and Brews.
going on? We're just going to talk. You name it. But we also, Baracos is there. Essential Creations will be there. We've got a couple other groups outside of the Chamber.
Right.
That will be there too. McDonald's will be there. Jewel Osco, Rich Lee Vans.
I'm sending my kid up there. I'm sending them both up there.
Send them up there.
I'm
That's
sending
what
them
it's
both
for.
up there.
Yeah.
The Lanuti teenagers will be at the job fair, ready to go.
Great.
Dad's dragging them out of the house and dropping them off at the curb.
March 5th, Sunday, March 5th.
All right, they'll be there.
They better be ready.
Lazy bums that they are. They're not laying around my house all summer long. They're going to go work.
Yes. So at this event, not only will you be able to network with these local businesses, see what openings they have, we're also going to have the opportunity for people to take professional headshots.
Ooh.
We also will have a handful of resume experts on hand. They'll review your resume for you there in person. And the library will also be there promoting some of its job and career resources, like our Job Now resource is an online resource that you can upload and submit your resume to a professional. They'll review it and give you feedback within 48 hours. And you can also log on there and get live one-on-one interview help. They'll go over popular interview questions with you so you can plan out your responses and be prepared.
Frank Murray is the director of the Evergreen Park Public Library, and he is brought to you proudly today by sidsauce.net. These small batch hot sauces, the peppers grown in Evergreen Park, they're bottled and they're brought right to your door. They got a sauce that can spice up any food and a rainbow of flavors. Check them all out at sidsauce.net. Meanwhile, I'm checking out the cover artwork here on your library magazine, Frank.
Right smack dab on the cover, we got a wonderful picture of the 3D printer and a wonderful patron at the library and our classes that we're going to be having. So we have a chock full of classes in the spring for 3D printing. We have a family 3D printing workshop where you guys can come together on Thursday, March 23rd at 6:30, learn the basics of how our 3D printer works, how you can get objects printed, and learn a little bit about 3D design. We'll walk you through a basic object. Then we have a class for teens, grades 6 through 12, on Wednesday, March 29th from 3:30 p.m. And then we just we're going to have drop-in labs to see what the popularity is like. One of them's going to be on Sunday, March 26th at 1 p.m. Come in, see the 3D printer in action, learn how you can use it, uncover the basics of 3D design.
You 3D printed the library for a miniature library.
Yeah, did you see that?
I saw that.
Yes, it's very cool.
So then where do you put that? You got that on display now in the library?
It's on display, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, there's been a lot
How many
of cool
tax
parts.
dollars did that cost?
0.
Good.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, Chris, because that's a great question. I got to remind everybody, the 3D printer was donated by OSF Healthcare. They donated that. And then the Library Foundation, through the various events they've had, like the microbrew, the micro marathon, they donated money for us to purchase.
My drinking contributed to that 3D printer.
Yes, it sure did.
See, everybody always says that my drinking needs to stop, and no, it must continue.
It needs to continue.
Because this is how we pay for stuff in Evergreen Park.
Keep on drinking, Chris. And then we've got a kids craft night. It's going to be Wednesdays. We got it going on March 8th and March 22nd. March 8th is featuring a St. Patrick's Day Fizzy Rainbow. And then March 22nd is going to be a butterfly squish art. So mark your calendars.
I'm sorry, what's
Wednesday, March 8th.
What's the second thing?
And
Butterfly squish art?
Yes.
Are you squishing butterflies to make art?
You're squishing stuff to make art with different materials.
Why is it called butterfly squish art?
Because we're going to be making butterflies.
Okay, but you're not squishing butterflies.
We're not squishing the
well, that's what it sounds like.
No, yeah.
It sounds like that, right?
Sure. If you
It
think
does.
of it
Butterfly
like that, I can
squish
see that,
art sounds like you're squishing butterflies, right?
Butterflies. We're gonna squish things to make butterfly
But this
art.
is the kind of event where you could get like a weirdo shows up and they got themselves like a case of live butterflies. And the guy's like,
the butterflies.
I'm here for the butterfly squishing. And you won't know what to do, Frank.
Well, we'll kindly
Who
ask him.
proofreads these? I'm just saying, you're inviting trouble. Okay? Because
with the butterfly guy.
In this world, I guarantee there's a guy who squishes butterflies for fun. And he's got this circled on his calendar.
Yeah. He's in a movie, right?
No,
guy?
he probably lives up the block from you. You just don't know. He's the neighbor that never comes out of his house. But you're going to meet him. On what date again is this?
That's this one, the butterfly
squishing.
That's March 22nd.
March 22nd.
6:30 p.m.
He's coming out of his house.
Or March 8th.
Wearing like a sinister black raincoat, right? Gets in like a car and it's like nothing but rust and organ music plays in the background. That scary stuff from like an old Don Knotts movie. and he comes riding up and just gets out with his little case of butterflies.
Chris, you're really painting a great picture
and
for
he's here
people to come to the library.
butterfly squishing competition.
Yeah, well, hopefully that's not what people. You're really painting
I'm just
a
saying,
really great
you work
picture.
at a library, there should be people that look over this stuff when you write it down.
Oh, it's going to be a fun event. Come on out, 6:30. And then don't forget March 8th, St. Patrick's Day, Fizzy Rainbows.
Oh,
going
yeah,
on.
okay.
6:30
That one,
too.
fine. Fizzy Rainbows. That
That's-
sounds like a
that's
drink,
fun and
actually.
cute, right?
Fizzy
Yeah.
Rainbow sounds like a drink
is
that I can
butterfly
get.
art.
Right,
I mean,
at like a
come on.
cocktail place. Like I go out to a bar, and it's like, what do you want? I'll get an old-fashioned and 2 Fizzy Rainbows.
And 2 Fizzy Rainbows.
Right,
There
that's
we go.
what that sounds like to me.
Of the Fizzy Rainbow.
Right.
Thank you. And then we also are starting a brand new story time. You know, we've got a great list of story times that are going on. Our preschool story time, baby bookworms, toddler time, stories and stretches, story time in Spanish. We're launching a brand new story time on Tuesday, March 9th. It's bilingual story time. Join us for stories, songs, and rhymes in English and Spanish. And that
So they're
is-
going to say, they're going to do it in one language and then say it in the other language too? So is this like something where like if will the kids learn Spanish because they're sitting there and they're listening to it in English and Spanish? Or is it so that both Spanish speaking and English speaking can all sit together?
I think
Like, what is the purpose
It's a combo. It's a
Combo
little bit of
thing.
both.
All
And
right.
to bring different people together to enjoy around literacy. And hopefully you start, you get exposed to a different language. You start to pick up on it and have some fun. There's going to be crafts going on too. So it's going to be a lot of fun. That's the first one launches Tuesday, March 7th at 6:30 p.m.
You ever see that Adam Sandler movie Spanglish? You could have named it that. I'm just saying. You could have done that.
We'll have to get that for the spring.
I mean,
or summer
I don't.
newsletter,
I'm
Chris.
right down the block. All you have to do is
We
give me a
just
call or
call.
knock
Yeah,
on the door.
call.
Okay, I could have saved you from the butterfly thing and come up with a better name for that.
Yeah, Chris, we need you to look over the newsletter. Make sure we got
an
some
entire
good
building full of
good titles.
librarians. You would think like they'd be masters of the English language, but no, not at all.
We're okay. I mean, we're
No,
all right.
I know you. I
We're
don't
all
know
right.
if you are. Tell me if you're okay when the guy shows up with the butterflies. You tell me if you're okay.
Hey, we could talk when I come back in April if the butterfly guy showed up. If the butterfly guy is listening, do not show up. But all you other folks that are interested in butterfly art, come on out.
Butterfly
We'll have some
guy
fun.
doesn't listen to my
We'll have
podcast.
some
He
fun.
listens to more sinister podcasts on the dark web.
Take a look at your spring newsletter at the library. We got author visits. We have so many more kids activities for teens and adults. Come on, check it out. There's so much fun going on. Or go to the library's website, www.evergreenparklibrary.org, and look on our events page. We got so much fun planned for the spring.
All kinds of fun at the Evergreen Park Public Library. Frank Murray is here, and I don't know, hide your butterflies. That's all I can say.
Thanks, Chris.
Look at all those people in this great suburb driving down 95th and Kedzie. What a great place. It's called Evergreen Park, but we know it better as the EP. We're known for more than just the Unabomber. Remember Ted Kaczynski? You guys might even remember that big old rooster on 95th Street. It's all part of EP's history. So listen up to the EP podcast. You might be asking why. Because we talk about all things and we celebrate all the great things in the 60805. It's the EP podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP podcast. Evergreen Park.